Howdy folks, Kirk J and Sons here with Kirk Giordano Plastering. Today I want to explain new color finishes over existing painted finishes. Big difference between a third color finish over a brand new house. Anyway, this house is about 100 years old. Funny thing is, we were working on a house last month. It was about 90 years old and it was a little beat up because there was no maintenance. We're going to show you guys some maintenance. The fellow who owns this house, he's had this for about 45 years, and he is a maintenance kind of guy. I'll show you how. I tell folks, hey, if you paint your house, say every 15 years after a certain amount of time, it'll last forever. But anyway, getting off the subject, I'm going to show you something here. This new window was put in about 10 years ago. And this is a sprayed-on dash finish. Now it almost matches this floated finish, which was done 100 years ago. We got the same thing here, and we got the same thing on the chimney over here, where they did a little work on the chimney. It settled it a little bit, so they put another finish. And this is a dash finish. It's blown on with a hand hopper, but it's real close. So the fellow said, Kirk, I've been watching your videos. Good thing we do these. He says, I understand you can put another finish and blend everything into one. I said, correctamundo. So we're going to show you guys how to do that a little later. Right now, I'm just going to talk about how we're doing this because a lot of people don't know. They just took these downspouts off. So, of course, we're coming around and scraping these off. We're going to scrape all the areas where the downspouts had just come off today. But I wanted to point out another thing, guys. Now, the fellas who did the paint job here, they came, and it took them like 3 weeks. They covered everything. They pressure washed the house. They pressure washed the wood. Then they sanded the wood down. They got a little bit of gung-ho going here, a little carried away. But you'd rather be carried away than just flush right here. This is good because what we have to do is take the suction here and the suction here and this where there's been downspouts for 100 years and make it into one. We'll show you how to do that a little bit later. For right now, our new finish is going to be 1/8 of an inch thick, and we're going to go with a 1620 and blend all of this in. That'll be shown to it a little later. Here's a little interesting fact. Jay and I were at a barbecue we're having yesterday. He said, Dad, how many color coats have you done? I said, I don't know, 50. He says, try again. I said, 100? He says, try again. I've been with you now 20 years, and we've done hundreds of them. And I thought, well, I've done a lot of them. He says, here's a good way to figure out how many you've done. If you've done 10 to 20 a year, and you times that by 10 years, that's about 100 to 200 color coats right there. Then if you times that by 40 years, long you've been in business, you've done like 400 or 500 of these. And I thought, I have, and Jason's done about 50 to 100. And you learn a lot of things after you do so many color coats over painted surfaces, you name it. We know how to do it. Say like, we got to get all these little things off. That's pretty annoying, isn't it? We got to get all those little things off. We got to get the suction right. And there's some areas on the other side that you'll see why we got to get the suctions right. And here's another thing. Jay said, well, Dad, I'm going to put red tape on this, the vinyl. And I said, what if the paint comes off? He says, I already tried it. Jay came here the other day and he pressure washed this with 3,500 PSI. He said, I pressure washed the wood in this to see if it would come off. It did not. So it was pressure washed by the painters. Then Jay came and pressure washed the stucco to get any dust, dirt, grime, moss off. And so now we know that this tape will adhere. We're using the red tape. This is Echo tape. It's good for 30 days without leaving a residue. If he would have hit this and some of this would have come off, then that would not have been a good sign. We would have had to use blue tape. And if we use blue tape when we put the bonding agent on, the bonding agent lifts the blue. Anyway, some boring stuff. Let me take you guys around here a little bit more and I'll show you some other things we're doing. You boys aren't done with this stuff yet. You working? I'm going to show you one thing, too. Covering is such a drag. I hate covering, but these guys are good at it. See this crack right here, guys? This is a stress crack. That's about the only stress crack I see. Will a color coat repair that? It will repair it temporarily. If this house moves, a color coat is cosmetic, guys. It has no structural strength, but you don't have to paint it for 100 years. So the fact that they did such a great job with the painting on here, you can see that wood is just perfect. And that's where stucco starts to fail, because southwest, sunlight is hot right there, hits the window right here, expands the wood, creates a crack. Stucco water goes in that crack, and that's the beginning of the end of stucco. It just deteriorates it. So what I wanted to point out is this guy did such a great job over the last 40 years of maintenance. Man, he kicked butt. So that's why his house is in such good condition. I would normally see cracks going here. We'd normally see them going here. All over here. But they're not here. And I don't see where they've been repaired, because even I would notice my own repairs. So it just shows with proper maintenance, you guys could have a stucco house that could last hundreds and hundreds of years. Now I'm not trying to put anybody down, but this is normal. This is normal. These houses are probably the same age. That's normal. This doesn't have it. Why? He's done stucco maintenance. Now I know this is probably kind of boring to a lot of folks. They want to see things that are kind of cool, like say you take your trowel. Let me go with the heel. It's sharper. And you put it like so. Put it on the center. This is what people like to see. They don't like to see that. Let's try that again. They like to see cool stuff. They don't want to hear talk. But I got to talk, guys, because before we're going to get started here tomorrow. Today is prep. So prep is a drag. All this stuff got to be covered up. We got to have our little soldiers here. Every time we start prep work, we got to have brand new knives, because there's a lot of cutting, a lot of plastic. I recommend to folks that we use these big fat rollers and we put on a good bonding agent. What are we doing, guys? The house is pressure washed twice. So we are applying a bonding agent over this now. The bonding agent is a chemical bond. It does last forever. It's permanent. I've been doing it 40 years. I have never had a bonding agent fail yet. However, there have been some people call me and say, Kirk, these guys just did a color coat. At 6 months, it's coming off in sheets. I said they took a shortcut. They put the bonding agent in the mix. You cannot do that, guys. Anyway, so Dan, Carl, Jay, and already set this scaffold, covered all these windows, because tomorrow we want to get a color coat. I'll show you another thing too, guys, and here's critical. So if you're going to have this done, you better have some research done also to find somebody who knows what they're doing. See all this right here? They had a hole here, so they patched that up. They put a new window here. And because they put a new window here, they've refeathered it all out because they changed the window size. Now here's one of the things that are kind of important. I'm using a bonding agent. This bonding agent is called Weldcrete. Now you guys could use Weldcrete, but you could only get this at plastering yards, professional yards like, say, West Side Building Materials. You can use Quikrete. They sell Quikrete at Home Depot, Lowe's, all over. But what we try to do is now, this is the critical part, guys. I don't have my screen in that bucket, but I've already put a coat on here about an hour ago when we first got started. And I'm putting a second coat because this is fresh stucco. It's about maybe a year old. Why am I putting 2 coats of bonding agent right here? And here, I'm only going to put 1 coat of bonding agent. And yeah, this is tinted blue. I like it because it has more emulsifiers. This is a professional bonding agent, guys, so I use it. Now, again. I have got to kill the suction. This is painted probably 10, 15 times because it's in such great condition. Now, if I were to just color coat from here over this, it would ghost or bleed, discolor. Variations would be crazy. And old Frank would call me back and say, Kirk, come look at this nonsense, redo it. So what we have to do is get the color or the suction as uniform as all possible. This is probably the most critical part with what we're doing. And sometimes it doesn't work. I'm looking at this material right here, and I'm thinking, man, is that Eisenwall or just a gray color? Eisenwall's tan, and Eisenwall is different from regular cements. It absorbs differently. That's the cement they used right here. So if it is Eisenwall or Rapid Set, it's the same stuff. I'd have to hit this 3 to 4 times because Rapid Set or Eisenwall, it has a different suction than most stuccos. Most of you don't need to know that because you'll hire somebody like us, somebody like Jay, Carl, Dan, to do your color finishes. And so we know how to get the suction right. And how do we know that? Because we've failed a couple times in the last, or I have in the last 40 years. Once or twice is all you need to fail to never do that mistake again. Because if you fail, we got to come back and redo it on our own time now and for free. And right here where this is all beat up, I don't know if the camera will show that, it's really beat up. It doesn't match. So we're going to put a bonding agent on this. Then I'm going to skim coat this today. I'm going to put another coat on it to match this. So when we do the color coat tomorrow over all of this, it'll blend in as best as possible. The idea is to hide all these different finishes, hide all the new work, and hide everything. And a color coat, again, they started in 1926. I've seen a house that had probably a 100-year-old color coat on it. At least, about 100 years, I'd say, in Berkeley, one time. So the color coats are maintenance-free, but the wood, guys, the wood is not maintenance-free. On something like this, I'd recommend you paint them every 10 or 15 years, and if you get a crappy paint, you're going to have to paint them every 5. Anyway, until we see you again when we're applying the stucco, that'll be tomorrow. All right, guys, I'll explain what we did. That took 30 minutes. You can watch it in 3 because we all have a low attention span, including me. I'll explain what we are doing. Now, we put it on. This is a heavy sand finish. It's 1620. You don't get long 10-foot strokes like you do with fine sand. Let me explain a couple things because what we're doing, I want to be real clear. I don't want to sugarcoat anything because thousands of people watch what we do, millions, and we like to be honest with everybody. Okay, now we had a crack here. Can that crack come back? Absolutely, it could and probably will. Color coats, this is designed for cosmetic finishes. Like a brick, it'll stay this color forever. If you wet it, it'll darken, just like a brick, just like these bricks here. They last forever. Anyway, over here, I was praying for warm weather for months, and we finally get it yesterday. We didn't want warm weather yesterday or today, but we got it. Jay and I are sweating like slaves now to try to get that front done. Carl and Dan just did this right here. They're not done floating it, but I can see. I'll help you guys out right here. Blam. All right, guys. Let's see. There it comes, floating. Let me explain some things. We did this wall late last night. It's still drying. All the colorations, guys, color variations are normal. This is typical. This is acceptable if you want a solid finish. Just like a painted finish, paint your house. Don't do colored stucco because we're as good as they get. However, we're using a deep base, and with it, sometimes the dark tint tend to discolor just a little bit. This is all acceptable. We just did this last night. This is still drying. I'll show you the other side. I might show you guys how to spread something in slow motion or regular motion, not sure. But here is what we did yesterday. Now, this is all dry because this is the first wall we did yesterday. And again, guys, if there's any color variation, see the bottom is still wet. It darkens like a brick. Here's where we had a challenge. There's that pretty word. They use Eisenwall here to patch this window. Eisenwall has a lot more suction than Portland cement. So I used 2 gallons of glue right here. 2 gallons. The rest of this took a half a gallon. That's just to get the suctions right. And again, guys, we're going over a painted surface. If we were going over a brown coat, that's a whole nother ball game, guys. But I just try to tell folks everything, like if you're going to have any hairline crackings, it could still come. But if you want to finish that last 100 years or 2, go with this stuff, but at least know what you're getting. My name is Kirk, Jason on the camera. We thank you guys for watching, and as usual, we'll see you guys on the next one.
All right, folks, we want to thank you for watching how we do things in the stucco and plastering world. We really enjoy your questions and comments, so if there's anything you want to learn about that we can show you, please let us know in the comments. And as always, from the entire Giordano family, we'll see you on the next one.